Pregame.com.
Welcome, everybody, back to another week of Pregame.com videos. I'm Chris Andrews, along with Chuck Edel. We also have Steve Fezzik sitting in with us this week. We traded VR for a handicapper to be named later, and we got Fezzik. So what do you know? Not a bad trade.
Off, Harry.
And some cash. And cash.
And cash. And dinner's on Fezzik, too, I think, later on.
I owe everyone dinner in this town. Big deal. Get in line.
We will in about an hour. Our first game tonight, we're going to talk to Chuck Edel. He's got a pick on the BYU San Diego State game. BYU, a 3.5-point favorite, the total 48.5. Chuck, tell us your thoughts.
Yeah, San Diego State, this is going to be a home game. This is being played Quail
the
County
Poinsettia Bowl in Qualcomm Stadium.
So they get to play at home. Coaches very familiar with each other. Rocky Long, a while back, hired Mendenhall. He was his defensive coordinator at New Mexico, and then, of course, went to BYU. So they're very familiar with each other. The San Diego State team, though, down the stretch, they were 6-1 against the number, 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the number, including beating Boise State 21-19 at Boise State. Coincidentally, that also came into with the Dingwell, the quarterback for San Diego State. Ryan Katz, the quarterback who was there, injured. Dingwell takes over, didn't lose a game, kind of managed a game, wasn't turning the ball over. San Diego State's defense played very well down the stretch. Now they're going to go up against BYU, who's a little bit of a quarterback situation. Riley Nelson, still not sure if he's going to play. Even if he does play, he had more turnovers than he did touchdowns this year.
Got a bad back.
Yeah, right? And ribs. Cracked his ribs in a couple of weeks before the final game there. Cracked his ribs. So the last game, Lark, he's a quarterback. He plays against New Mexico State, throws 6 touchdowns. Everybody's kind of giving him all this, kudos. Bottom line, this guy's a senior. There's a reason why he never played a game as a senior. He was third string before the season started. Now he's in there. He played against a soft defense. I think he's going to struggle against the San Diego State defense. BYU's defense, very good, but they haven't really played a lot of good offenses. In fact, BYU against winning teams this year, 1-4 straight up. The only game they won against a winning team was 6-3 against that Utah State game. San Diego State down the stretch been playing real good, catching some points at home. I like San Diego State.
Okay, Steve Fezzik.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know I like to look at the betting marketplace when I'm not actively handicapping games. And here's one where every sharp book that I respect is at 48. Cantor here in town, it's not even on the screen, is at 47.5. Yet there's some books at 49. And having watched enough BYU games, it seems like money always comes in on the under each and every one of them. I think back to midseason when they were playing Utah, and I cashed a ticket on the under. That's the one where it was 24-21, and they kept trying field goal after field goal with flags and penalties, and finally they stopped the game. I think it was like midnight by the time the thing finally ended. And I swore I would never bet a BYU game again. If I won that game, screw it, I'm going to bet this game under as well.
I'm looking at a couple of different things here. BYU, first of all, I was very impressed when they went into Georgia Tech and totally stopped that running game. Matter of fact, they give up 2.7 yards per rush, so they are very good against the run. Just another little tidbit. Who was the original court? Katz.
Yeah, Ryan
When he broke his leg, I was at that game. It was up in Reno, and I saw Dingwell come in. And I was actually with my wife at the game, and I thought, you can see the body language on this kid. He's not a great player, but everything's very much under control, and that's the way he's played the whole season. Led them back. They scored late in the game against Nevada, scored in overtime, went for 2 in overtime and wound up beating Nevada. So the kid is very poised. He's not the most talented kid, very poised. Rocky Long, though, 1-4 in bowl games. I'm not sure that's statistically relevant. Conversely, Mendenhall is 4-1. 4-1 against the spread.
Yeah.
So
that's something, so there's certain situations, I guess. I mean, obviously, bowl games, as we know, you get longer time to prepare. But you get longer time to prepare. So I think the coaches do play a bigger role in these bowl games because they do have longer time to prepare. But this San Diego State team, at the beginning of the year, defensively, they struggled, and then they really came on. They're not that far behind BYU.
Absolutely.
In fact, they played, the rushing defense. They played Nevada, Army, and Air Force, 3 of the top 10 rushing teams in the country, and they're still 34th against the run. So defensively playing well. We'll see. It's BYU got the defense against the run. We'll see how they play here against.
And in that Nevada game, they got better as the game went on defensively.
Do you kind of throw out the games when a team plays against an option team as kind of like it's almost not a regular football game, and you almost should take those stats out, right?
It's because they're not going to see it here. I mean, he brought up a good point. I mean, BYU's best game was against that Georgia Tech option when they played.
They had seen a lot of that in Air Force every season.
Absolutely.
All right, we've talked about it. Let's go ahead. We're going to make it official.
San Diego State finished the season 6-1 against the number. Ryan Dingwell managed the game well. Muema running the ball very well defensively. This is a team who played, only gave up 19 points in 5 of their last 7 games. Beat Boise State on the road, playing their best football against a BYU team who, against winning teams this year, 1-4 straight up, only beat Utah State 6-3. That was their one win. San Diego State at home here, I think that's the right side.
That Utah State game, by the way, was very early in the season, too, before Utah State really became
offensively, yeah, exactly.
Utah State. Okay, we got the free pick from Chuck. Coming up next, we're going to get Chuck's best bet. Washington State at Boise. Boise, 5.5-point favorite, totals 45.5 right here in Las Vegas. Stay tuned. You're going to get the best bet from Chuck. You can see all our videos at pregame.tv.